Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and you're listening to the voice of the people. Let's get ready for Boxing Voice.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
What broke him down? Was it just the
body punches? I was hitting him with body punches, and I heard him actually he was crying in there.
You're saying that Biggs was crying when you hit him?
Yes.
When did that happen?
And perhaps the fourth round on.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
So that you knew you had him by that time.
Absolutely, but I knew he was tough and taking those punches.
DiBiase Productions.
Making women gestures like, oh.
Let's go, champ.
It's the champ. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the TBV podcast. Today's the news and rumors edition. We're going to be talking a little Chris Eubank Senior and Junior calling up promoter Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing and asking for an opportunity at the not Bronze Bomber, but Tony Bellew, the Bomber. We're gonna head on out, obviously, to the Golden State to one co-host by the name of Hipster.
DiBiase Productions.
This is a beautiful performance against a very tough guy in Michael Johnson. How do you feel about it?
Fuck that. Conor McGregor.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
You know me, Larry. From a wicked entrance, from a flip over the rock into a knock out now. When the main thing is, I just help the guy. I wish.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
Yo. I think it's just a case of Chris Eubank Senior and Junior, or both of them, or one of them, going out and creating storylines for themselves. You know, I mean, this is what they've been doing for their whole careers, both Senior and Junior, and you know they got us talking about it because, let's be honest, Chris Eubank Jr. is a little bit crazy, and so is his dad. So, if they were to really somehow get a catchweight and get Eddie Hearn to actually negotiate, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually went for it, to be honest. But let's just be real for a second. This fight ain't happening. It's a good thing to just to talk about and bullshit about, but this fight ain't happening. Come on.
But why not?
I mean, do we really think that Tony Bellew is going to somehow make a catchweight of what, 178? What's the catchweight going to be?
Well, don't forget, isn't Bellew he's a cruiserweight or a light heavyweight?
Cruiserweight.
Oh yeah. See, I went into this episode thinking that title he had was at 175, but you're right, he beat McAboo. So that's
and he weighed 215. No, wait, 213 or 14, I believe, for the David Haye fight.
Wow. I mean,
so we're talking about roughly a 45 to 55 pound.
Definitely a troll. Then it's definitely a troll, because where could Bellew meet Eubank Jr. at safely? And it doesn't even make. I mean, he's been weighing at 196. Maybe for his cruiserweight fights, he can't get any lower than that. I mean, it would be crazy. And he was high as 215 for the David Haye fight. And also there are rumors of a rematch. They're just waiting on Haye to be healthy enough to get back in the ring. So I don't know that he would
risk that rematch. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I just think that, I mean, has Tony Bellew weighed at 175? Yeah, he used to be a light heavyweight. I believe he used to be a super middleweight as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, he got knocked out to Adonis Stevenson once upon a time, but how many years ago was that?
Exactly. I mean, I don't know if he could safely make any sort of catchweight nowadays. But I mean, if we're actually going to think about this in some sort of hypothetical scenario, if I'm Tony Bellew, if I could make a catchweight, why not do it? Chris Eubank's not going to hurt you.
No, it won't. The problem that I see, again, I went into this episode thinking that Bellew was 175 pounder. I forgot that he's up there at 200. But the other problem I foreseen was ITV, which now has Eubank Jr. and Sky Sports, who obviously has Bellew, especially after that big win over Haye, right?
Yeah, and I think that Tony Bellew really rose just his overall stock in the UK market with that David Haye win. I don't know where he is at in terms of like a household name. I don't know where that is. Hopefully we get some UK callers to let us know. But David Haye was huge over there. So and that fight was big. It did around 800,000 pay-per-view buys over there. That's massive. So the idea that a Chris Eubank Senior or Junior or both of them created this media storyline for publicity because Tony Bellew is now a big name in the UK. It makes sense, and there's no risk in it because it's likely not to happen. And even Eddie Hearn, Tony Bellew's promoter, was sort of scoffing at the idea that he even got a phone call from Eubank Senior about this. That this whole idea just seems sort of ridiculous to him. So I definitely think that Eddie Hearn and Matchroom and Tony Bellew aren't taking this seriously at all. I have no idea if the Eubanks are, because they're both a little bit delusional, a little bit crazy, but they're also very smart at manipulating the media and using the media to get their name out there.
Well, the two gentlemen have a pre-existing beef. So, and to be honest with you, we can't call it trolling if his father's really trying to contact the promoter and negotiate something. Can you call it trolling? Trolling would be saying you want to fight Bellew on Twitter and social media alone, but actually trying to get the fight negotiated. And let me tell you something, maybe
it could be a bluff, that's the whole thing.
But they could also be thinking, who was it that I interviewed, or one of us interviewed, and they basically said that Brooke took the fight. Or I think it was I Film London that interviewed Derek James, and he said that Brooke took that fight with Golovkin because he was smaller and thought he would be faster. He thought he would win based on speed. Maybe Eubank is thinking the same thing. Looking at the two men's body, and look, we all follow Chris Eubank Jr., at least us here on the show. We know how fast he is, the combination punching, maybe, and don't forget, Adonis Stevenson knocked out, Bellew. It's not like, oh, this guy's a heavyweight, this is a joke. No. He was at once upon a time, maybe 3, 4, I said 5 years ago, he fought Adonis on HBO. So it's not that far-fetched to see.
It is. Come on, man. David Haye couldn't put him down.
Because David Haye is damaged goods.
What do you mean damaged goods? We watched that fight. Come on, man. We know that.
Dude, so what are you saying?
Was winning.
Wait, what are you saying? Tony Bellew all of a sudden grew steel around his chin because
you can have better defense. Look at Badou Jack. Look at Daniel Jacobs. There were plenty of recent cases of guys who were once knocked out in vicious fashion and somehow are able to survive brutal wars. This isn't a.
But what are we arguing? That you're the one saying David Haye couldn't knock him out, as to say if the bomber is all of a sudden now invincible. I'm just reminding you,
I'm just saying that if David Haye can't knock you out, why? How can and let's be honest, a middleweight?
Because a light heavyweight did it, Matt. Why are you?
Chris Eubank isn't a power puncher. Adonis Stevenson is a power puncher. He is known for being knocking out.
What does it matter? It was done. You're trying to ignore it and all of a sudden give.
I'm not ignoring. I'm just saying that there is other evidence to point to the contrary. That Tony Bellew is not some weak chin person that can get knocked out by a guy like Chris Eubank Jr. There are other.
Well, there's evidence to prove that Chris Eubank isn't some weak person.
Really? Reynold Quillen, he couldn't put him down. Some guy that we never heard of. And his first fight at 168, and he's going to move up to what, a 185-pound catchweight against a guy that just beat David Haye. I don't know. I just come on. We have to be realistic about this.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Listen, we're just reporting it, okay? Again, if Chris Eubank Senior really contacted Eddie Hearn, these are the quotes from Eddie Hearn, what could we say?
True. The idea that it's
trying to do it, it's real.
The idea that it's not necessarily trolling, I can see that argument because there was a call. Eddie Hearn admitted it, that there was a call by Eubank Senior, and there's really no reason for Eddie Hearn to propagate this media storyline. Eddie Hearn and the Eubanks don't really get along that well, so there's no incentive for him to do this. But I don't know. This is weird to me. Like this whole news is weird. Like I really don't know what to make of it. I don't know if I should take it with any grain of salt or zero. I go back and forth on this news, to be honest.
Look, I mean, I wouldn't be mad with anyone who says the Eubanks are just trolling. Again, I just think it's slightly odd with the fact that he actually called to see what could be, done. But listen, this is a quick one. We just wanted to report it. Obviously, we want to bring you guys every bit of news that we can. So we're going to jump out to these phone lines and get to you, get your couple of opinions, and then we're out.
These calls are brought to you by El Camino Electrical Services, experts in electric vehicle charging stations. For consultations and turnkey installation, visit us at elcaminoelectricalservices.com.
Going out to Milkman in Atlanta.
I told y'all a long time ago, the Kirkland will go down 3 rounds.
Next, I got milk, baby.
Milkman.
Come back to me, Nash. Come back to me.
All right, we're going out to the UK. Wesley, talk to me.
How you doing, guy? How you doing, man?
All right.
I mean, come on. The guy he's just trolling. That's what he's doing.
So why call Eddie Hearn if it's a troll?
I mean, the guy. He likes to big up, make big news. He likes to think. He just wants to put his name in there. He just wants to put Eubank's name in there. I understand what he's doing because he's just trying to put his name in there and then obviously see if he can actually get a big fight. Because let's be honest. I mean, he did the same thing with Gennady Golovkin. He had the contract to fight Gennady Golovkin, didn't do it, and then as soon as Kell Brooks stepped up and done it, he started bitching about Kell Brooks of welterweight, blah blah blah. If he actually thought he could beat him, get him in the ring. Fight in the ring, but the thing is, I just don't think Eubank is serious. That's the thing.
Hey, man, I mean, any guy that's calling a promoter actually trying to negotiate this, I got to take it serious. You know what I mean? He picked up the phone. These are Eddie Hearn's quote. This is not Chris Eubank. I mean, we're used to Chris Eubank Senior being a little delusional, but these are Eddie Hearn's quotes. So he's saying what really took place.
Yeah, of course, I understand that, but I generally don't think. Let's be honest, I don't think Chris Eubank will get in the ring with Tony Bellew. I would love to see him. To be honest, I think he's a great fighter. I would love to see Chris Eubank in a good fight with Gennady Golovkin. Because I do think, let's be honest, I do think Gennady Golovkin will have trouble with Chris Eubank. But I just think Chris Eubank needs to kind of distance himself from Senior because Chris Eubank Senior is really messing his career up, to be honest. Because he fucked up the Gennady Golovkin fight for him, and he's obviously didn't really, he's kind of messing up his career. So I think he kind of needs to distance himself away from his own dad. That's just my opinion.
Wesley, thanks for calling in. Listen, Matt, people say that, hey, he's fucking up his career. He needs to distance himself from his son. And a lot of people are upset that he didn't take the Gennady Golovkin fight. But if you're the Eubanks right now, aren't you feeling more confident? Wasn't it better that you didn't? You allowed Jacobs to go in there and kind of give you that game plan that you need. I mean, now thinking about it, a guy, look, you even heard me like, hey, even Billy Joe Saunders, I think now has a shot. Anyone who can box and has good stamina at least has a shot. I'm not saying beats Golovkin, but you got a shot if you're going to, be on the back foot like Jacobs. Eubank hasn't really proven to be a back foot type of guy, but he has proven to be an in and out combination puncher, which seems the type of style that'll keep Gennady Golovkin's hands up. What do you think about that? I mean, isn't it better that they didn't take the fight? I mean, he was kind of inexperienced. His only big fight was versus Billy Joe Saunders, who he lost to. So, I mean.
No, it's funny because when Wesley was talking, I was actually thinking about asking you, do you think that Chris Eubank has a better shot against Triple G based off of the Jacobs fight? I was going to ask you that question. I tend to think yes. I think that we've seen something in Triple G slip, whatever that is. It could be age. It could be guys just, quote unquote, exposing him. It could be a litany of things, but Triple G is no longer the destroyer of worlds that he once was. So he does look more mortal, does look more like a human being. So that does, bring up thoughts of maybe Chris Eubank outboxing him for potentially 7 rounds. Chris Eubank is also a tough guy. I've never seen him really get that hurt in any of his fights. So I don't know. I mean, again, we don't know what division Chris Eubank is even at this point. He went up to 168 for an IBO title that meant nothing. Is he now a 168 guy, or is he moving back down to 160 because he sees
I don't know, man.
the kingpin being exposed, quote unquote?
But could we go on saying that this title means nothing? I mean, we speak about champions making titles and not titles making champions, and I think this might be one of those cases. I know that this is not a truly internationally recognized sanctioning body, but no one clowned this title for all the years that Golovkin has held it. It was his first title as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, listen, Chris was getting attention without this title. So I don't think it really changed anything for a negative. If anything, it is a positive to the casual fan.
I don't think it's either, to be honest. I don't think it's a negative.
No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. To a casual fan, any piece of leather and gold wrapped around a fighter at the end of the fight or the beginning of the fight is recognized as a world champion. Come on, bro. Knock it off. That's why they got those little NABOs and WBC Continentals, because it gives that fighter the same feeling.
The only way that belt or that fight would have meant anything is if he fought someone. That's how you become a champion.
Yeah, but now with that title, man,
that's worthy of that.
But now with that title, regardless if something happens out of this ridiculous, headline, but with that title, the next fight will mean something. Whoever he fights, I believe. We're not going to stop covering him. He's not going to stop being.
When you say mean something, what do you like? Do you mean just for the casuals, or do you mean like it actually has some sort of meaning in boxing? Because it doesn't have any meaning in boxing. It's like the fighter makes the title. The fighter makes the title. Yeah, but is Chris Eubank Jr. hasn't fought anyone at 168, so we can't.
But again, let's hypothetically, we know how James DeGale feels, but let's just say he fought James DeGale,
and let's say he beat him, then then he becomes validated.
Regardless of what James DeGale says, oh, that's not a recognized title, blah 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 blah. It won't be a unification. It will still go down as a unification, and if he won, he would still remain the IBO, and it would give validity to it, is all I'm saying. Because
give validity to him and not that belt.
To that sanctioning body. With every champion with every champion that holds that title up the way that Vic Darchinyan used to, because boxing fans are fickle, but there are plenty of champions. Nonito Donaire held that title proudly.
A lot of people hold the NABF title, but that still means shit.
All right, man. Hey, let's get to some callers. We'll go to Donald in California. Talk to us, Donald.
About the IBO title, I mean, it's not really a high recognized title, but I'll be honest with you. If I was a pro right now, and I'll be saying to myself, that IBO title might be the easiest title I can get. Let me get that first. That way I have something. So what if it means nothing to the fans, but I'm a world champion and I have it? Then maybe after that I can move forward, just like Chris Eubank. He could get a James DeGale fight, and then he has the IBO and the IBF. That's 2 titles. So what if the IBO really doesn't mean shit? But that would be 2 titles he would have if he beat James DeGale, and that would be a good fight to make. Also, him fighting Tony Bellew, oh my God, I don't see that happening. I mean, what is the catchweight going to be? I'll be honest. Let's say a realistic catchweight. What would the realistic catchweight be? 190? I'm sure Chris Eubank can make 190, but for him to make 190, that would be him at his maximum weight, and then that would be Bellew coming down. So would he drain Bellew and get him at 190 because of the speed, or would Bellew do a massive knockout on him?
Bellew has no reason. Come on. He has no reason to come down on 190.
If I was Bellew, I would take the fight.
No, but not at 190. Not at 190. You got the Hay fight rematch there with a dude who's going to have a recycled Achilles heel. Get out of here. You take the Hay fight, it's more money.
I know, but I'm just saying. I know, but think about it. I mean, Chris Eubank has just came from 160 to 168. Okay, and Bellew is a cruiserweight, which is he has to be at like 199 for his fights if he stays at cruiserweight. I mean, think about it. That would be only Bellew having to come down 9 more pounds from the maximum weight that he's at as a cruiserweight, and then that would only be Chris Eubank to have to come up like, what, 15 or 20 pounds? Because who knows what Chris Eubank is walking around at. Chris Eubank might be walking around at like 180, right? So that, I mean, that I could just only see it being that way because what would he do? 195? I mean, that's a lot for Chris Eubank, and I could see it being a catchweight for 190. If I was Bellew, I'd say, look, dude, let's do a catchweight. 190, 195. I'm going to go get this money, beat the shit out of Chris Eubank, get this check, and then what, hey, you want to do a rematch or what? I'd get that money and just go in there and just knock his ass out and get that check. I would.
Well,
Donald.
Donald.
Not stressing his body out too much to make the catchweight.
Donald, I want to thank you as always for calling in. We're going to head out to Corpus Christi, Texas. We're going to talk to our the third man in the ring.
It's me, Mario.
What up? What up? I am very curious to hear what everyone else's perception of this. I couldn't get a lot of feedback on Twitter, at least from my personal account, but I just don't get it. I really don't get the upside for Bellew. Oh, and no, I'm sorry. I do get the upside for Bellew. It would be a huge advantage. I don't think that there is a pretty significant increase in viewership. I guess for Bellew fight, coming in with Eubank, but I just don't understand Eubank Senior's like methodology with his son's career. He's walked away from fights that made the absolute most sense. He's tried to get fights for his son that made absolutely no sense. It's just this crazy, chaotic spree. He honestly, I don't know if he doesn't know what he's doing or if he's overestimating his son. I have no idea what it is, but this man is one of the most dangerous things in Chris Eubank Jr.'s career, and he really, something needs a change needs to happen. That's my only perception of this because it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, man, we're all a little baffled, but before I go out to these callers, let me ask you, Eubank, he didn't take the fight with Golovkin. A lot of people were sour on him leaving that negotiation on the table. But now things have happened. Time has passed. Jacobs has been in there. There's slightly a different perception of Gennady Golovkin. Is the Chris Eubank Jr. versus Golovkin fight looking a little more entertaining to you, or based off what you've seen and how disciplined Golovkin is with that jab, it just wouldn't even matter?
I don't think it would matter. Listen, I did want to see it back then. I would say that there is no change, but I mean that in a positive way. I still view this fight the same way I did. I really do want to see it. I mean, it's not, my top 2 or 3 fights for Golovkin, but it's still a fight that would be respectable. It would be it would make a lot of noise, I think, for Golovkin, in certain parts of demographics that I'm not saying he lacks at all, but it would just make it stronger for him. But that being said, you're absolutely right. I was upset for the reasons why Chris Eubank Jr. supposedly walked away. And it wasn't really Jr., it was Senior that, really said why he wanted to walk away from it. And he wanted to treat it like his son was the absolute A side in that fight. But you have nailed it, Ness. Things have changed. The perception has changed. That said, I go right back to it. Senior is so delusional when it comes to his son's potential, star potential, that in his mind, maybe he thinks that he's increased the A side more, and Chris Eubank Jr. still deserves even more. Like, we have no idea, but I think public perception will eventually get to Senior, and I really think the fight could be made easier now, knowing that these guys fit in certain places.
Hey, any one of you guys think that when Chris Eubank Senior contacted Eddie Hearn, he said, "Listen, we want to get this fight with Bellew done with the bomber, but we're the A side." No, do you?
No.
You think? No, I'm serious. Like, do you think they said they were the A side? I mean, that obviously they were trying to play A side with Golovkin. They wanted to triple the ticket prices. So,
there's no way they could have thought they were the A sides against a guy that was 50 pounds heavier, right? Like, there's no way.
I think they do, honestly. That's how diluted like this guy is. Like, I really do honestly believe that he does.
That delusional, or it's just Senior?
No, I think it's Senior. I really don't think Junior deserves a lot of the criticism that he's gotten. I've heard interviews with this guy without his dad, and he doesn't seem as far away from the edge of the cliff as his dad. I mean, this guy is toxic to his son's career, and like, look at Angel and Danny's relationship. Danny, in my opinion, is not changed or affected by Angel's antics or anything like that. Danny believes in himself, but at the same time, he doesn't allow Angel to clout the way that his confidence comes off. Angel is like the mouthpiece. Danny knows that. He says, go out there. But at the end of the day, Danny still does what he's going to do. This is a completely different dynamic between Junior and Senior. There is a huge, effect on Junior's career, and Senior is navigating that bus. You know, he is the only one with his hands on the wheel, it seems at times. He's got his foot on the gas, and he doesn't know how to use the brake.
Well, the difference is with the Eubanks and like the Garcias is that Andrew Garcia isn't his manager. From my
That's a good point. You're right. No, that's a good point.
Manager, like, he's the one that is, his job is actually to control his son's career. Angel's job, or Ruben Guerrero's job, is only to train.
You're right. No, that's a good point. You're absolutely right. I think, though, we all know that in boxing, fathers tend to, try to take up as much control. That's why we saw Floyd Senior and Junior split. That's why we see a lot of these splits between fathers, the Mosleys. But in this sense, you're absolutely right. With him behind the wheel, because Junior gives him that ability, it makes it even harder to kind of like disconnect yourself.
Let's go out to these phone lines. We're going to go to Coach Mitty in the UK. Coach, man, I sent you a couple of things, man. Keep on the lookout.
Hey, Ness. How you doing, everyone? I hope you can hear me well. I'm driving, and I hope you don't get any background noise. I'm just coming out of the gym, and I saw your live episode. What is it? Do we have like confirmed negotiation between Tony Bellew and Chris Eubank? Because I saw the comments and the messages they exchanged on Twitter, but I didn't know it was anything serious. Because, like, to be fair, it's ridiculous to me. That's a fight that should never happen. And I think, Mario, I just caught what you were saying, but I agree with you. Like, Eubank Senior is like ridiculous, and he's not doing anything great for his son's career. His son just moved up to 168, hasn't done anything, and is now looking to fight at a catchweight with Tony Bellew. I appreciate that you want to make money, but the guy is still young, and he should be fighting at his proper weight and securing a legacy, just fighting proper middleweight or super middleweight contenders. Nothing to do with just like cashing as much money as you can, because he will be able to do that. He will be able to do that in due time, but he'll be able to do that much better if he secures a middleweight title or a super middleweight title. Then he can do whatever he wants at the end of his career, cash in on the name of the Eubank and call out anyone he wants. But for now, dude, you're young. Just go for greatness, as you guys say, right? Just go and win belts. That's all I've got to say. These guys are ridiculous. And I want to finish on one comment. I think like Chris Eubank, the senior, should take a leaf out of Ness's book and do some proper parenting with Chris Eubank Jr. a bit like Ness did with MD, so that MD can come every time on the show and stop being an arrogant prick. That's all I've got to say.
Coach Smitty, thanks for calling in. MD, not gonna like that. Listen, these guys, you know, people don't like this show topic. They don't like this news, but they're listening. Chris Eubank moves.
You know what they're not doing, though? They're not hitting that like button.
They need to hit the thumbs up because we have nothing to do with the news. We just report it. Aren't you happy that we're here to take your calls and to give you another show? Come on, guys. Hit the thumbs up button. Don't shoot the messengers. That's all that we are. This is the rumor mill. And while this could have been, you know, kind of categorized as a rumor, unfortunately, this is real. Eubank Senior really called Eddie Hearn and is trying to make this one happen, or attempted to anyway. Marcus in D.C., Washington, D.C., talk to us.
Yo, what's good, Boxing Voice, man? Now, I appreciate the show, even though both Bellew and Eubanks are some clowns. It's all good. I mean, if they want to remain, if they getting paid over there from a domestic fight, and these are domestic fighters, then, I'm all for it. You know what I'm saying? If they want to raid around for Hay to fight Bellew again, or Chisor, or Dylan White, or this round table of bums that they got going on over there, then, I'm cool with it if that's what they're doing to get money. But in the grand scheme of things, none of those dudes are relevant in the scheme of boxing as it applies to us American boxing fans, as far as that. Because these dudes don't move the needle as far as the rankings. You know what I'm saying? They may move the needle as far as the ratings in the UK, but nobody's checking to see where Bellew is in 190. They looking at Usyk and Glassick and a couple of those other Garcia and Levin.
Yeah, but like Bellew could do well against those guys. Bellew could do well against Usyk or Garcia. That's very possible.
But the thing about knowing whether somebody can do well, Matt, is putting them in the ring. Everybody can say what somebody can do on the outside of the ring. If they can believe that, make the fight. You know what I'm saying? Make those type of fights. I mean, him fighting Hay was useless. You know what I'm saying? Everybody had Hay winning. I had Bellew winning because Hay is washed up, man. Hay is washed up. But what I'm saying is, in the grand scheme of things, where you have somebody that's yelling, "Oh, I want to be significant. Oh, I'm the A side." Listen, you got to beat somebody to be the A side. You can't be like a self-proclaimed A side. I like Chris Eubank Senior for real. If you listen to him, he is intelligent, but his moves don't always match what he says. And at this point in time, Chris Eubank Jr. just be better fighting somebody at 60 to 68 that is more notable, and then let the world be the A side. See, when you call yourself what you call yourself, you aren't what you say you are. Everyone says, yo, Floyd's the A side. Floyd don't really have to say he the A side. Everyone knows it, sees it, and can tell you. When you have to claim you the A side, you're not the A side. You know what I'm saying? So, grand scheme of things, who cares if they fight for real, for real? It'll be useless for both of them. It'll be a wasted training camp no matter what the outcome is. It doesn't change their legacy, and it doesn't change their view in the world as far as rankings. But maybe it'll fund their coffers. Who knows, That's my call.
That caller makes such a great point, because I have heard Senior in interviews with topics that have nothing to do with his son, and he's smart. He presents himself in a very progressive manner, but when it comes to his son, it's like the blinders are on. It's just really weird situation.
He was that way with himself when he was fighting too. That's
true, but
his way of trying to promote, to be honest. I think that's what he thinks is smart promoting, is what he's doing.
And I honestly don't think you're wrong, but I think at some point you have to see that you're having the opposite effect. Like when you have it, like the caller said it perfectly, when you haven't accomplished anything, promotion is just useless.
True.
Leonard Sterling, keep your eye out on that postal service, my friend, because I sent you a pretty nifty Patreon reward all the way to the UK, man. That shit cost an arm and a leg to get those international packages out. But my guys like James Grill, Joseph in New Zealand, all my internationals, man, we spent the big bucks to get you that TBV swag. Larry, San Francisco, what's going on?
Hey, what's happening? Big ups to the Boxing Voice. Hey, Ness, I was hoping you could help me out. I'm over here confused just a bit. In the last 10 months, we've seen the ridiculous matchup of Tony Bellew and David Haye, the ridiculous matchup of Triple G and Kell Brook, and the granddaddy of all ridiculous matchups, Canelo Khan. But why is Eubank Tony Bellew called a troll?
Just because I think the weight classes are so far apart, right? I mean, even if you say he's a 168 pounder, that's still a lot, man, compared to everyone else's weight difference.
Yeah, well, let me come at it this way. I know we've had the unfortunate pleasure of already seeing Canelo Khan now, but say the fight hadn't happened yet. Who would you give a better shot of making it to the end of the fight? Amir Khan versus Canelo, or Eubank versus Tony Bellew?
Definitely Eubank. Definitely Eubank. Easy. He hasn't never shown.
That's what I'm trying to say.
He hasn't never shown those Amir Khan type tendencies and his speed. I mean, I don't know how much speed he's gonna lose moving up another. One, two. That'll be 3 divisions total. So it'd be bigger than what Kell Brook did. I mean, hey, this guy always wants to outshine somebody. So I don't know. I get where you're going, Larry. I mean, we've seen crazier shit happen. I hear you. That's why we're entertaining it. I mean, he really called Eddie Hearn, for God's sakes. This guy is crazy.
90 seconds.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I somewhat agree with guys like Marcus. This fight is whack, and I'd much rather see matchups within weight classes. But I mean, we've already seen ridiculous. So this fight is not outside of the realm of any of those other fights, which makes me think it will happen. And I'll be back to talk about it then. But for now, I'm out.
I think the only difference, and it's not like a huge one, I get your point, and you're absolutely right, but I think the one difference is that those fights between Brook and Golovkin and Khan and Canelo, they put them on such a platform that no matter what the outcome of the fight, all fighters were going to benefit. I don't know if this reaches that global or international outlet, and in fact, I'm sure it doesn't, at least not to that degree. So that's the only difference I can see. But from a moral standpoint, you're absolutely right.
And remember, do not kill the messengers. Instead, applaud us. Instead, be happy with us. Congratulate us for being here, trying to make TBV a daily show for you, a safe haven where you can go when normally you don't have anyone to talk boxing with in those weird towns we all live in, where it's only like one casual fan that wants to talk boxing and all he still knows is fucking Pacquiao and Mayweather. So,
McGregor.
Yeah, Mayweather-McGregor is the new talk of the town, the new water cooler talk. So don't hit thumbs down, hit thumbs up, because you found your home. And yes, this may not be the best topic in the world, but we're here to ridicule it together.
Hey, me and Matt could be doing road work right now. Instead, we're here.
And also, you know, if you guys haven't picked this up yet, we do morning shows that are UK topic centric, usually to accommodate you guys in the UK, so you guys can call in, so it's not too late. And to be honest, this is sort of the biggest headline coming out of the UK right now. I mean, Tommy Langford, Curtsy, like, you know, that we're going to wait till that fight's going to happen. Then we're going to do a show on it and talk about our predictions and such. Like, this is the big headline for the day, and we want to cater to you guys in the UK.
Yeah, that fight's still like, what, 2 months away, right?
Exactly.
Hey, Rito, we actually want to do Canelo Chavez tonight. We're just making sure our Mexican resident Mario is available, but we want to come back maybe 7:30, maybe 9:30, something like that. Let's get out to these phone lines so we can wrap this one up. We got Amin in Jersey. Talk to us.
Yo, what's good, fellas? Give me my bell so I can go in. Yo, so Eubank Senior's got Amir Khan and his team looking like Floyd Mayweather and Al Heyman. He's got them looking like they're geniuses. You take your son and you say, yo, move away from 160. I don't know how many fights he turned down. We don't have to go through all of that, but he turned down fights at 160. Shit, he could have fought Jacobs. He could have fought Quinlan. He could have fought Andy Lee. He could have fought a bunch of people, okay? He fought Billy Joe. He thought he was better than what he was. He made a good show of himself against Billy Joe Saunders. Moves up to 168. He don't even want to fight James Chunky DeGale from the UK. Why not fight Badu Jack? Like, who the fuck thought it was cool to fight Tony Bellew at 190 or some bullshit ass catchweight? Tony Bellew's not even doing a disservice. He's not doing good by himself. I get it. You took the Hay fight because that's a moneymaker. You know what I'm saying? But man, you ain't even reaching for the fucking stars, man. Like, you trying to, like, you not even opening the sunroof. You reaching out for Tony Bellew, bro.
I mean, come on. I mean, like, David Hay was reaching for the stars. We all thought Tony Bellew was gonna get iced by David Hay. What's with this revisionist history on Tony Bellew, David Hay? We all thought Tony Bellew was gonna get iced. He went up a weight class and fought a heavyweight that we all wanted to fight: Wilder, Joshua, Klitschko, Fury. We wanted Hay to fight those guys because we thought Hay still had it.
Yes.
I mean, come on. We have to respect that win. We do.
Not a day on this show. I never hyped Hay to be anything other than a big-ass cruiserweight who fought much smaller guys. And when he fought bigger guys, he danced around them. He complained about his toe. He did a hide against fucking Derek Chisora. Like, that was his biggest win. That was his biggest win at heavyweight.
Yeah,
like,
but I mean,
it ain't a revision in history.
You sound like a hater because guess what? No one till this date has beat Derek Chisora in that fashion. No one. Even with all the losses Derek Chisora has now, no one has knocked him out clean the way that Hay did.
So Eubank is making, because this is not about Hay and Bellew. That fight, even of itself, I never picked. I watched it. I wasn't disappointed, but I wasn't impressed. I was actually mad that Hay was hurt in that fight. I'm saying you don't go from 160 to some crazy ass catchweight against a guy who's already doing his own money grab. That was a money grab.
Great point.
To do that with each other. You say, Matt?
No. I was saying that's a great point. I mean, you deserve coins for that one because you're absolutely right. You got a dude. I mean, that's the perfect way to put it. It's a money grab chasing a money grab. Like, that shit don't add up. You're right. I love the analogy. I mean, the not even opening, not reaching for the stars, not even opening the sunroof because, you know, in all honesty, like, you saw what Roy Jones did when he went up to heavyweight. Like, he picked who he was going to fight, but he was already Roy Jones Jr. When you're, you know, Eubank Jr. at this point, like, you don't, these aren't the fights you should be looking for. Like, these are not the opportunities that are going to further propel your career. Best case scenario, he beats Bellew. And what does it really do for him? I mean, look, it's an impressive win, I think, because of the logistics, but what does it really do? And I think that's your ultimate point. And, you know, great call as always.
2017 Call of the Year, man. They earn them rewards for a reason.
He ain't no joke, man. He ain't no joke. I mean, he's been consistent from day one.
Blind Man Brad, who's another one showing consistency, man. You never know. Talk to us, Brad.
Yeah, man. The way that you guys explain it seems like it would be a lot like bigger of a deal for, I don't know, for Eubanks to win this fight, obviously, but that's not what's going to happen. Does that sound right? Or would you say that how would you guys think this fight would go, and what weight do you think it would be at?
I think this fight would probably go, like, Tony Bellew is probably going to win this fight if it were to happen, hypothetically, of course, and a catchweight of around 185 to 190, I'm assuming. Because I don't think Bellew is going to drop that much, and he is the A side. But I mean, yeah, I mean, in a sense, you're right. Obviously, if Bellew beat Eubank, that means absolutely nothing. He beat in all sense, a middleweight that moved up and fought a cruiserweight / heavyweight. You know, if Eubank won, that of course means more. He beat up a cruiserweight. You know, like, that means something. You know, it may not mean a lot, but it does mean something.
It just makes him look bad either way for Bellew. Like, he wins. What I I guess the only thing is how did he put him out? Like, I mean, if he put him out there and showed him how big of a fool he actually was for stepping up and trying him, I guess that would be like his only plus, but then people would still criticize him for that, right?
Absolutely. You nailed it perfectly. The best case scenario for Bellew is that he goes out and he, blitzes him, ices him, and, he kind of can say, well, that's what you get. But it's still not like a win that anyone would really like justify as, moving you up the ranks in any way.
You guys are completely ignoring the fact that even though we have a few hardcore UK guys in our chat at the moment and they're disgusted with this fight, the UK gets behind shit, especially when it has history, man. Just do a little Google search. There's some sort of beef between these two. And if you could sell Bellew, hey, why can't you sell Eubank, who has a name? He's pedigree because of his father.
Yeah, but you're talking about selling the fight and making it about money. That's very different than saying this is a credible fight.
But we've never
credible win.
No. We've never spoke on this show. In terms of us, we know this is not a valid fight. Like it's
true.
But that's the point that Brad was making.
For Eubank, it's a scalp. A good one. Like he would always go down. Like he also. Hey, don't forget he moved up and fucking beat up Bellew at cruiserweight. Like no, people would give him credit for that a lot. I think
more. Well, Matt said it perfectly. He'd get more credit than Bellew beating Eubank, but I mean, I don't know how much more. I don't think the risk is worth the reward.
It won't be the same credit
exactly
that would have got if he beat Triple G. It's not the same.
Or Khan. Yeah, exactly. It's not the same at all. The risk is not worth the reward.
Let's go back out to the phone lines. I think we got another. Josh, you're in the UK, right?
Yep.
Talk to us, brother. How are you receiving this news?
Oh man, like the fight won't happen. The fight definitely won't happen. Chris Eubanks is a bit of a joke, and he's so overrated. I've seen nothing from him in any of his fights, really. He's been beaten by Billy Joe. Chudinoff was an all right fight, but he's a nothing sort of guy. What I'm interested to know is Chris Eubank. Is there anyone over your side who you think Chris Eubank would be a good matchup of? Like Ali, maybe?
I love the Andy Lee fight. I think that's the perfect fight.
I don't want to see him versus Andy Lee. Andy Lee's old. I thought you said Aleem.
No, so Aleem, Emmanuel Aleem.
Hell yeah, that's a great fight. Josh, man. Let me give Josh some fucking coins and an applause for that. Over there talking about this guy's talking U.S. fighters. I like Aleem, especially after the Heatrov win. That would be good. And it's not a big name. So if Eubank beat him or lost to him, I guess it's not a big enough fight for Eubank. Like it does nothing for him really, except for that mandatory, right? Because Aleem does hold some sort of ranking in the WBC after that eliminator with Heatrov.
Yeah, but he got bumped down for Charlo and Highland.
All good. He's there though. He's in the mix. So if Eubank wanted to get in the mix, that would be a nice fight. I like Josh with that one. Good call, Josh.
Cheers, boys.
Any more, Josh?
Yeah, I mean the last thing I would say, like the fight's definitely not gonna happen. Belly's already. I mean, Chris Eubank's got to join the queue. He's got one, maybe two more fights left. I think he's got to go for a big one. Even Dillian White, I can't see Eddie Hearn not putting him in with White over Chris Eubank, and obviously he said no to White. So there's just no way this fight's gonna happen. But yeah, that's my call.
All right. Well, let's go out to the hater checker for real, man. This is I know you're not gonna like this fight at all, and you're gonna be mad. But go ahead. What's going on, Scorsese?
And you're wrong. Like it's like Bellew proved to me he's not the best in the world. Like he tried his hand. He tried to fight one of the best in the world, Adonis, and we seen there was no match. If all of y'all think that all y'all say Adonis can't hang with Kovalev, so obviously you don't think he could beat them. He moved up to cruiserweight. He beat one of the best cruiserweights. a great well, now I can't say great, but he was an undefeated prospect looking like he was wrecking shit. Bellew got the job done. He tested his hand, and he said, every time I go in there, I'm fucking scared. Every time I go in there, I'm scared. Why you think he's scared? Because he got knocked out already. Guess what? He know on this level he ain't that guy. So it's like money grab. I'm going to do things that's exciting. I don't mind people who be not that guy to be, a circus fighter. I know you're not that guy, so just get your pay. You know what I'm saying? Just make it interesting for me. Chris Eubank ain't that guy neither. And you just hated on Andy Lee because of Chris Eubank. Hey, Billy Joe Saunders didn't have no wants to stand in front of Andy Lee and close that fight out. Andy Lee was fucking Peter Quillen up. Andy Lee, after what I seen in that Golovkin Jacobs bout, would be in the ring with both of them, giving them problems. Just my opinion. But, it's a UK fight. Two guys who ain't that guy, but they don't like each other. Find a way through it. I mean, how's that hurtful? People keep talking about Gamboa. People keep talking about Sean Porter just mentioned fighting fucking what's the boy name? The guy that Canelo not James Kirkland. What the hell? Like, why not? Everybody else doing something like that. Just, he's not that guy. He's proving it. Let him do his thing, man. That's a good fight for the UK. Like you said, they are hated now, but they'll show up to that damn fight. That's it, man.
I agree, man. I don't think it's a great fight, but I do believe that they'll show up to it, bro. For sure, for sure. Listen, we got that, everybody. You've given your take on this. Final thoughts from my panel?
I think that most people are right that I don't think the fight happens.
Yeah, and fight's not happening. Like, that's my official position. Like, it has a 0% chance of happening in my mind. And I would like to see Chris Eubank move back down to middleweight. Personally, I don't think he's a natural 168 pounder. I don't know why he did that in the first place. And I think they're just way more marketable fights for him at 160.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Especially now with the climate. Like, after Jacobs and Golovkin, it just makes more sense.
The division has way more life in it than what we thought.
Yeah.
And 168, in my opinion, only has James DeGale for a money fight for Chris Eubank. That's the only fight for him at 168.
I would love to see him in there with anyone relevant. You know what I mean? Anyone nowhere near on the level in terms of skill or popularity as a Reginald Quinlan. Nowhere near there ever again. I just want to see how good is Eubank. Like, I got to see the Billy Joe Saunders fight, and it's been so long that I feel like I need to go back and watch the Billy Joe Saunders fight, and that is sad. Give me something to watch, not just something to talk about, because boy, do they know how to stay in the rumor mill with the TBV for sure. But do they actually fight? That's the biggest problem that we're having. That being said, I am your host, Nestor Gibbs. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at NestGTO. We probably will be back with that Canelo show. Let us know in the comments if that's what you want. And remember, future, present, past, you could always hit that thumbs up button. It helps with the visibility of the show. And you can catch my co-hosts at
Catch me at Mixed Combat News on Twitter and my MMA podcast, Mixed Combat Radios, on Patreon, SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, etc. Peace.
Twitter and Instagram at Mario Munguia and Facebook Mario Munguia.
Do not forget, you know what? We actually gotta go at least a few more seconds, right? Let's just because there's a lot of things happening, right? I'm gonna put the picture on Mario while I go up and pull out the Border Wars, because a lot of things took place over the weekend. You know what I mean?
Last night's show stirred the pot.
Have the Border Wars.
We should play the 16 bars. I'm just saying that's the best hype anyone's done so far is the 16 bars. Mario.
All right. I could do that. I'm gonna
play that.
I'm gonna keep it on Mario. Mario, you're gonna have to lip sync it though, because I'm gonna keep the camera on you and just go ahead and let me.
Oh, I thought you were gonna play the video. No.
Oh, okay. Let me see. I'll try and do that.
Give everyone a little Patreon teaser.
Yeah. try and do it. Let's see. Yo, it's dinner time.
No.
This has to be immediately.
I'm gonna make it clear too, because the rumor is I put this 16 out, and the rumor is that a diss track is coming back my way. Now I'm not gonna get.
It's gonna be a poem. Let's be real.
Yeah. It's I and I still count like any rhyme is a rhyme. So I'm gonna tell you, I'm not gonna get caught up where it's gonna distract from my training, but I will have a rap beef. I am that petty. I will have a rap beef.
Hey Matt, did you see the little updates? Mm-hmm.
No, I did not.
Yeah, you see that?
For the rewards? Oh.
You see that? Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go check it out. Make sure you didn't do any spell.
Check out this one. You enjoy our podcast, #TBV, will buy us a cup of coffee. It's $3. You know what I'm saying? Because I do take a large with six sugars. You know, I know. Got to cut back on the sugar. That being said,
caramel, whipped cream.
No, I don't do the iced coffee anymore. It's been a long time since I had an ice.
Why? Iced coffee is the best.
Yeah, but all the sugar and the whipped cream and the caramel.
You can have iced coffee without that stuff.
Iced coffee is the best.
It is.
I think it gives you a better kick than like regular coffee.
Yeah, it does.
Yo, just check out the comments to those that have not joined Patreon yet. I mean, I'm gonna just open this up so you can see all the fire icons that people have put of how highly they think of Mario's skills. But that being said, let's do this. Let's go full screen status on him.
Is there a reason there's no intro music for this video?
No.
Look, this is a special edition, 24/7, all access, Enrique the Casual Fan diss track. Check it out. Look, me and Casual gonna throw down for TBV, so I'm gonna practice my bob and weave, and Enrique better start doing some jumping jacks, cause his ass is going down like a tree. You can call me the lumberjack. Listeners scratching their head, but don't worry, we ain't forcing them. You don't sting like a bee, and the only butterflies gonna float are ending up in your porcelain. Casual talking to his cornermen like I don't want no more of them. Later talking to his boys like I swear to God I fought like 4 of them. So start hitting the heavy bag. Just remember it don't hit back. Another tip for you, Hoss, punches are like planes before takeoff, so make sure your ass sit back. Get hit with that boom, and I ain't talking about no click clack. If landing punches like making money, then call my hook Tyson Fury and watch my pockets get fat. Death Star game, got a laser one too. Ask him what happened after Casual got hit. They gonna say he fell like a Crawford pay-per-view. No way I'm gonna lose. G, I ain't losing nothing. I'm gonna put your ass to sleep, then hit the snooze button. You better start practicing your holding if your ass gonna survive, bruh. And I'll make sure Ness practice CPR so someone can revive you. My right is a liar. My left is a truth. I'm gonna put them both to your dome and leave your ass so confused. Credit to you, but you still ducking the truth because you can't face facts.
That was far too much. It's supposed to have been a tease and shit. Far too much. But the thing is that Mario's like fucking Freeway and shit. You know, he's got like 100 bars.
I was supposed to be 90 seconds. It turned out to be like 2 minutes, over 2 minutes.
Yeah, but
freestyle. I like it.
Definitely hot. He's gained the definitely the backing of the Patreon family. They're excited over there. Casual is he's building some steam. He has his own, you know what I mean? He has his own little video that he put out, but you know, join us on Patreon. Like we said, buy us a cup of coffee. Listen, we're out. Later, guys.